welcome to Wave Clinical Support. I see from your case you have a patient who's previously been wearing soft toric lenses and you've switched them into a large diameter semi-scleral lens. And from your support request, I see that you're getting significant over-refraction, about equivalent to the patient's original refraction. However, it sounds like you have pretty good comfort with it. Well, let's take a look. From your designs, since the patient previously wore soft toric lenses, the refractive data that you provided looks like it's pretty appropriate and consistent. So it doesn't look like a refractive error problem per se. There's a couple possibilities that we think about when you get that over-refraction. One could be flexure, but if you look at your current lenses, they're pretty large or pretty thick overall, so my guess is that's probably not what's going on. In theory, those lenses could be rotating, cause some weird cylinder over-refraction, but then again the amount is about the same amount as the person's refractive data. So my guess is the third possibility, that these lenses are just not correcting, they're not making enough contact with this cornea. And if we look at the design, we went with the 16mm diameter lens, and I'm glad to hear that it's very comfortable for the patient. Those tend to work quite well on individuals. However, you got quite a bit of corneal arcing here. You kind of lift right over there, and this is basically a scleral lens, so it vaults the cornea. And because of that, I think you're just not getting the correction on that surface. You're basically getting a round cornea, and the cylinder is just showing through there. Although the tear film, you think, would hide that, but weirder things will happen. So what I might recommend to adjust that, I don't know if you've tried a little bit smaller diameter, more of a semi-scleral lens. If you go to a little smaller diameter, you get a little bit more of a corneal touch, but instead of being centered on the cornea, you get it right onto the limbus there. And if you haven't seen it, there's a great video on the Wave training site on designing these larger diameter lenses, and I'll include the link on the email that I send with this video. But I'll just kind of outline it very quickly. The tool that you might use for that, you go to Configuration Settings, and there's an 8-point design protocol that is recommended for that. And I found it very helpful. These lenses tend to be very comfortable for patients. But just to kind of summarize it very briefly, you calculate your optical zone and your IC width. You keep a large thickness so the lens doesn't flex, and generally recommend probably in that over 25 thickness. Once you calculate your overall diameter, it's probably going to be closer to the 14 range, but 14, 14.5, or even if you like that 16mm, but I would probably go closer to the 14 range. Set that at axial, and we're going to let the wave do some work here. I'm just going to pause the video while it's calculating. Be back in a moment. Okay, welcome back. Now we have a design that's more of a 14mm diameter, and following the recommendations in the 8-point step, you're going to calculate where to place that bevel position. You want to get this up off the cornea, so centrally. Get that to go. And you usually get that up around 8 or 9, even 10. You want to make sure you have a nice tear pump in that center meridian, so switch that to 50. I'm going to bring this up and get this, before I do that, let's get this ball up a little bit higher. There we go. Make sure you get enough tear pump in the vertical meridian. You're next going to pin that pink ball up around the 20 micron line. Try to keep it the same location. Now if we take that lens around, you now have created a lens that still sits on the limbus. It supports it out there, so it keeps that nice comfort so that soft lens wearer can get used to this lens more easily. But now you have a little bit more better contact interaction with that central cornea, and so I think you're going to do a much better job of hiding that cylinder. And I found these lenses tend to be very comfortable and tend to be very successful in these toric patients. So let's give that a try, and based on that, I wish you well with this case. Thank you again for contacting Wave Clinical Support. Best of luck to you. Have a great day.